Hi there, it's Deidre with Eyes Wide Open Arts, and today I'm sharing a card that I made for the February Clever Dexter Challenge blog. Today I'm working with a cool little digi stamp by our amazing sponsor, CasettaSullalbero. My apologies if I mispronounced the sponsor's name, but I just could not resist this little digital stamp. I'm going to start by laying out my card. So I go to File, New, and then here I set my dimensions for my card to 5 inches wide by 6.5 inches tall. I leave it at 300 pixels per inch, and I set my background as usual to transparent. It'll be easy to know that that's the layer you're working on because it shows up as the white and gray checkerboard pattern. Next, I'm going to duplicate the very cool digi stamp to my new file, which is Untitled 1. And then that's going to move that image over. Clearly, you can see by the little thumbnail on the bottom that I'm going to have to play with the sizing a little bit to make this work. Once I get him exactly where I want him to go, I'm going to duplicate him and make him a girlfriend. So I'm going to name her Second Bunny. That way I know exactly which images I'm working with as I go back and forth. I turn off the first image by clicking the eye and seeing the red line through it. And then I'm going to flip her so that she can sit next to him by going to Image, Rotate, and then Flip Layer horizontally. I will tell you that this is hard for me because I am spatially challenged and directions are not my thing. I just edit out that piece though. But anyway, from there, we're going to clean up all of the white space around it using the eraser tool. You'll also notice that I turned that first bunny back on so that I could see where his sign was, so that as I move her around, resize her, and position her, I can make sure that her head isn't blocking any of the sentiment that's on the sign. Okay, so we like what we're seeing now. So we're going to turn off that first bunny again, and we're going to use a combination of tools in order to get rid of all of the extra digital image behind her. We're going to use the regular eraser to get close, and we're going to clean up the sign. She's holding a sign, so we have to make sure we get rid of that. And then very shortly, we're going to switch to the quick selection tool, which looks like almost like a little magic wand without the star on the top of it. And that allows us to select the white space around it and then delete that out very quickly without having to move around repeatedly. The good thing about this is that it deletes all the way up to that black line. Sometimes it goes over a little bit, but you can fix that with a pen when we get ready to make the actual card. The one thing that I noticed is that she wasn't looking at him, she was looking at me. So I'm going to change her face. I'm going to do that by using the lasso tool and just selecting her facial image, and then I'm going to layer via cut. I select layer via cut instead of layer via copy because we don't need another set of eyes. I'm also going to change the layer name to side eyes because she needs to be equally as snarky as he is. I'm going to flip her face so that it looks more like she's looking at him by going to Image, Rotate, Flip Layer Horizontal, and then adjust the spacing and the orientation a little bit more. I'm going to clean up the side eye layer by just selecting that particular layer, turning the others off, and then using my quick selection tool to get rid of all of that extra spacing around it. I thought that they looked really cute together, but I didn't want her to look like she was going to punch him, which is what that little bunny fist looks like to me since she was holding a sign. So I'm going to go in and get rid of that side of her arm, and we're actually going to duplicate the other arm that's there, and we're going to do my favorite, which is, of course, flipping the layer horizontally and putting the same arm on the other side. I use the lasso tool to grab onto it, and you can see the rest of the process here. Now that I think I've got her in position, I'm going to use the paint bucket tool to fill in her face entirely. That way I can get rid of some of the checkerboard pattern that for me might be a little bit distracting as I make the rest of the card. Okay, time to make her one whole bunny. So I select all three layers and right click and merge layers. That allows me to pull her eyes, her body, her ears, her arms, every piece that I've done separately all together as one image so that I can move them around as one at one time. You can also do the same thing by selecting all three layers and moving them around at the same time if you don't want to merge the layers because you don't feel like you're quite finished. Okay, I'm in the home stretch from making her really look at him out of the corner of her eye. So I'm going to use the quick selection tool to select the pupils of her eyes, then right click and layer via cut, just like we did a little bit earlier. I'm going to do this for both eyes and move them to the right. Don't worry about the little bit of eyelid that may have been cut off. We'll clean that up with the black pen when we finish the actual card itself. Look at this cute little bunny couple. So now it's time to print. I know the size of my card, so I leave it as actual size because that's what I created my canvas as. I do not crop my card because I want it to fit exactly the way I laid it out. But I also like to save paper. I am a little bit of a tree hugger. So I turn my orientation to landscape. I turn off the center image option, and then I adjust my margin so that my image moves to the left. Here's the final card. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for spending time with me. You can check out more information on my blog.